Why MicroBiz Matters, Part 1.
Yes, well, we have Lord Lancaster with us today. His Lordship is with us, and I must just say before we get into our questions that MicroBiz Matters Day would not have happened without Lord Lancaster, Paul Lancaster, DJ extraordinary, the super connector, the most connected person I've ever met in my life, and also a bit of a technology whiz, because the first MicroBiz Matters Day was run on Google Hangouts. And if it hadn't been for Paul, because I didn't even know what a Google Hangout was, we wouldn't have interviewed some 50 odd people during the day and started the whole thing off. So it's thanks to Paul that we have a MicroBiz Matters Day, and he's supported us every single year all the way through. And he's a great friend as well. And I'm really looking forward to this interview. So how are you today, Paul?
I'm doing great, especially after that introduction. It should be like a MC of a wrestling match or a boxing match or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What's the name of that guy that does the, where he rolls his, fantastic. I do that. And now, his Lordship, Lord Lancaster.
I just need
I can do that. Get me a job. Get me a job.
I need the Big Daddy kind of.
You do.
Big Daddy of Dying Haystacks. Do you remember them?
I do, exactly. I can see on your show. This is a good place to start because we are looking forward at the moment on MicroBiz Matters Day to the most fantastic year ahead, Paul. And I can see on your shirts it says Tribes, doesn't it?
It does.
So tell me about that. This is what's going to happen to Paul Lancaster in 2021, isn't it? Tell me about Tribes.
Okay, yeah. So like you say, I've been helping people start and grow businesses for about 15 odd years. I've worked for corporates, I've worked for local enterprise agencies, youth enterprise schemes, government organizations, and then I finally started my own business 4 years ago, my own micro business, which is basically me. I am the business, and I bring in people as and when I need to on a part-time freelancer basis. And that includes the Newcastle Startup Week Festival, the annual 5-day event that you've spoken at 3 times now, I think. Yeah. This year, obviously due to COVID, I've had to pivot to online events, which have gone well. We've still managed to run 2 5-day events through a private Facebook group. But Tribes is basically the evolution of Startup Week, and it's what we're trying to do is create this is where it gets technical. Tony, are you listening?
Okay, yeah, I'll stay with it, Paul.
Okay, we're going to think of it a little bit like LinkedIn, okay, but LinkedIn for ideas.
Yeah.
So we're going to create a data-driven signposting and matchmaking platform that's going to speed up the process from idea to exit and everything in between. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
What that'll do is it'll signpost and recommend people to the best people, products, services, support, funding, investment that they need for their specific idea. And the reason we're calling it Tribes is Tribes is the platform, but we're connecting the different tribes. So the founders, the MicroBiz owners are a tribe.
Right.
The organizations are tribes. The funders and investors are tribes. All these different groups of people, they don't know how to find each other or don't know how to talk to each other. So we're bringing them together. But then everybody who uses the platform can create their own niche network, their own tribe around their idea and their business as well.
Is it a subscription model or?
It's going to be freemium, like LinkedIn. So we're going to invite everybody to use it for free. But that will allow them to just build their own kind of tribe for their own reference around their idea. But if they want to unlock certain features and if they want to be discoverable and searchable by funders or investors, they have to pay a subscription. At the minute, we're thinking about £10 a month or £150 a year.
Right.
And then that will enable them to create their own tribe around their idea.
Right. And this isn't a solo venture, is it? You've got partners. So tell me about choosing partners. That's a good way to start. And what would be your advice for as you know, I've only ever had women business partners all the way through my 34 years, and it's worked out pretty well for me. But all but about one or two. but Claire Francis, my business partner of 34 years, that's worked out superbly, and she's my best friend. But tell me about choosing partners, because that's a tricky thing in itself, isn't it? So, how have you gone about that?
Yeah, so Tribes, I mean, the idea for Tribes, you mentioned before, like, it's a bit of a buzz phrase, but I'm known as a super connector, right? So there's lots of people like me around the country, around the world, who spend all day, every day, signposting, matchmaking, doing introductions, trying to help people, right? But that's what Tribes is meant to be, right? So like me at scale, like a digital version of me at scale, right?
Yeah.
But it took a long time to, like, I've had this idea for about 4 years, right? And I've talked to lots of people about it, and I've had lots of interest, but no one really, like, lots of people wanted to be involved in it and they wanted to take the glory from it, but they didn't really want to put the effort into it, right?
Yeah.
And then, started talking to my two co-founders, Andrew Essen and Mark Rennie, about a year ago, actually. So I first went to Mark, who's a technologist. He's got his own successful web development company, about potentially building the platform for me. And then Andrew, I was getting some mentoring and some coaching from him through a local enterprise funded initiative, which is all about helping business owners grow or consider growing their business. And the three of us were talking to each other kind of independently. We hit it off, all three of us really into the idea, and then kind of danced around a little bit this year about how we were going to work together. And then it was clear that we were all really, really committed and really wanted to make this work. So yeah, we've formed a company, the three of us. We're all shareholders in the company, and it's really nice being part of a team where they're as motivated and inspired by their idea as I am. So sometimes if I'm feeling a bit tired or demotivated, they'll kind of boost me up, and vice versa. Whereas the previous business, or my current business, it's basically me doing everything. And sometimes, I've missed being part of a team. It's nice being part of a team again.
Right. So you've got a team, and they sound fantastic people. And I think that's the other thing for people, is to recognise the first thing you said is that you've had the idea for 4 years. Mm-hmm. And I think that one of the things that certainly this last pandemic year has proven to a lot of people is that build things on really sound foundations is really important, if you like, and don't worry about taking, we talk about disruptors and mavericks and various things as entrepreneurs, but the majority of the biggest entrepreneurs that I've ever met, and you've interviewed with me as well, they've all been in business for years and years and years and years, and often it's 10, 15 years in that something changes and they actually scale up. In fact, it's a myth, isn't it, in terms of reports, that it's really young, high-tech people developing all the greatest businesses in the world. It's not at all. So it's much more like staying in the game, meeting the right kind of people, seeing the right kind of opportunities, and time is on your side, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah. No, I definitely think the talk about no hair and grey hair being a good bet, or good type of business to support. But I think just generally it's very rare for you to have built up a network and experience and money and everything that you need if you're really young. It usually takes years to do that. I mean, that's my network. I have built up a very large network online and offline, but it's taken me 15 years to do that. Do you know what I mean? But it means that I can leverage that network because I've kind of earned my stripes, and people know that they can trust me that I'm really serious about what I'm doing, because I've been doing this sort of thing for a long time. So the credibility and kudos when I'm talking about creating a platform that's going to help people start businesses and get ideas out of their head into the real world, it makes sense. It's like, well, yeah, we can see you've been doing this stuff for years, and we can see how it relates to Newcastle Startup Week and everything else that you've done over the last however many years. And then Andrew Esson, I think he's 68. His background.
Oh, right.
His background's engineering. He's built and sold companies. He's raised investment. Very, very credible, very solid process guy, but also very entrepreneurial. So he's like the chief operating officer. And then Mark has fresh out of university, co-founded a web development company 8 years ago. Very successful web development company. Again, solid tech guy. And when we're speaking to potential stakeholders and partners and funders and investors, the team, they all say, look, your team is amazing, like that because we've all got complementary skill sets, and that really stands out for them, that it's a great idea, but it's also the team that really appeals to them.
Fabulous. Well, there's kind of two things there before we move on then. One of the people we like is Gary Vee, I think, as a speaker and various things. And that one of the things that really kind of I liked about when I first saw him speak is that, and he still does it today, is that it's kind of like earning your stripes kind of thing. You know, something like 15 years he spent in the wine business, didn't he, for his father, kind of thing, of hard work and actually building up. Because at the end of the day, that network of contacts, as you as the super connector, that is your asset, and you're building that up every single day, aren't you? And then, you know, one day it'll all turn around. And then the second thing is Ciroli, who always said, you know, like at Silicon Valley, where he's interviewed all the best entrepreneurs and various things, that he's never met anybody that was able to develop a large business, a very successful business on their own.
Yeah.
It just can't be done, you know, and people have got to be absolutely brilliant at creating something. They've got to be absolutely brilliant at marketing that something that they've created, and they've got to be absolutely brilliant at looking after the money side of all of that. And he's never found anybody that could do all those things brilliantly. So, you know, you've just kind of proved it, and why you've got the partnership there in place is great. So are you going for investment now? That's a new thing for you, is it?
That is a new thing. So we are looking at raising some investment, which I don't know. It's a funny thing, because to do what we want to do, we do need like serious money to resource it properly and to build a team around it. It's like we don't need that much money to get started, but actually, you know, to resource it properly, to do it the way we need to, we're looking at like $500,000. That's what we're looking to raise, which is obviously a lot of money, but depends who you talk to. When we talk to investors in London or Edinburgh or Manchester or overseas, that's not a lot of money for them. For the ambition that we've got and the potential for it, that's not a lot of money. But if you speak to a local Northeast investor, or what a lot of them are is government-funded organizations or European-funded organizations.
Right.
Nice as they are, like they're not necessarily proper investors. I would say they're more like money managers or fund managers, ex-bankers, you know. So who are generally a bit more risk averse. So the ones that we're getting the best response for are the ones who have done it before. They're entrepreneurs themselves. They've built and sold similar companies. They've made a lot of money, and they're still hungry, and they want to be part of the ride. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's fascinating because trying to get investment for what is still it's a total innovative thing. Nobody's ever done this before. It's a challenge.
Oh yeah, but it's also a great thing. I mean, that's where the personalities of the three of you are the most important thing, and that's why it's so exciting, because, you know, what you're describing says you're looking for an entrepreneur, and Bill Morrow of Angels Den always says that none of these guys are, and it usually is guys, unfortunately, but none of these guys are actually interested in the business plan. In fact, they won't even read it. But basically what they're interested in is the people that are actually going to be running this business that they're going to be working with, because they're actually interested in investing, because it's what gets them out of bed in the morning kind of thing. They want to be involved in something that's great, really. So yeah, fantastic. I think you'll go well. So you must be looking forward to 2021, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, this year has obviously been really, really tough, you know, for a lot of people. Well, most people, I would say, and it's been, you know, business wise, financially, it's been pretty crap, right? I think you know this, right? But in terms of innovation, creativity, personal development, fulfillment, happiness, it's been one of my best years ever. So you can't have everything, can you? But I mean, I'd rather have that than be rich and miserable. Do you know what I mean? But
well, 2021 is the year of the happypreneur, Paul.
Yeah,
so that'll suit you just fine.
Yeah, but I definitely feel like this year has been a really good year in terms of just even Tribes. You know, Tribes was something I've wanted to do for a while, but I've always been busy doing the Startup Week event, which is amazing, but it usually takes 11 months to organize and pull it together. So finding the time to do that and to start a new business has been difficult, and finding the right people. But this year I've had a bit more space to think and really, and also the moving online with the Startup Week. So we've now got an online Startup Week community that isn't just for Newcastle. Anybody can join it. But that's like a precursor for Tribes. It's allowed me to test a few things out and just see like how we can move things onto the online space instead of just physical events, and use that as a channel to tell people about Tribes. So.
There's another great point for anybody listening, I think, Paul, is the fact that, you know, building that network, if you do, allows you to test trade things a lot quicker, doesn't it? So you know, you can actually build relationships that are so good with people that you can actually realize that, you know, something isn't going to work very, very quickly, and you can move on to something else, or something will work and you can put some real effort into it. So that's all valuable in many ways, moving to online. A lot of people have seen it as an opportunity, haven't they?
Yeah, I still think, you know, nothing compares to the energy that you get in person. I mean, this is great. Like, always love talking to you. I've done lots of interviews like this, and MicroBizMatters Day. It's always been an online event. It's always been how can we reach the maximum audience possible. So that's why we've always done these live stream interviews throughout the day, and they've always worked well. But people still like to be in the room. You know, they still like to be there and soak up the atmosphere and the buzz and the vibe, and nothing compares to that.
And for me, Newcastle Startup Week, you're genius, and those events were absolutely fantastic. I mean, I enjoyed your online event, but the evenings were just so special, weren't they? Where we all chilled out together and got to know each other, and we were in brilliant different venues every evening for 5 days. It was a special atmosphere, wasn't it? A festival atmosphere.
Yeah, well, that's where the magic happens. You know, it's like the serendipitous conversations. You know, things that you overhear or you bump into people, and that's where the ideas and the innovation happens when you bring people together who wouldn't normally come together, but they're coming together around, and it is an event. It's like a gathering, you know. It's like the Highlander, you know. Everyone's coming together for the quickening, you know. They're all coming together. Yeah, and then I just love that. I mean, that's Startup Week for me is the perfect. It's like the physical embodiment of everything that I love doing. You know, about bringing people together, connecting people, giving a platform to people, giving opportunities for people to take their ideas forward and match them up with people that they wouldn't necessarily find on their own, but they are coming together because they're all in that like-minded spirit. That they're all in the mood for creating something new, or supporting people to create something new. So yeah, the sooner we can get back to physical events like that, the better. But for now, we're going to have to just make the most of the online.
Definitely. Great.
Friday the 8th of January 2021. Follow the hashtag MicroBizMatters.